retaining wall.
Yeah.
Do we need him here for that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he needs to be here.
I can text him when we're doing that pretty quick.
Okay, are we up? Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and call a meeting to order. It's Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
That's one heck of a turnout today. Okay. Minutes and reports received and filed.
Yes, we have the treasurer's November 2021 reconciliation report, the sheriff's November 2021 fees, and the collector's November 2021 fees.
Okay. Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Planning Commission meeting tonight, Incentives Task Force meeting tomorrow. Maybe Chamber Connections Thursday, they have one.
No?
That's about it.
Okay.
Tomorrow I have a Heartland Port Working Group meeting, and on Thursday a Heartland Port Board meeting.
Okay, tonight's Capital Caroling. Thursday, the sheriff's invited us to lunch. Monday is the Bicentennial Bridge ribbon cutting at 1:30. So, Jeff, you can go represent the commission.
Jeff singing tonight? Is it?
Jeff?
No, I'm not even allowed
No.
to sing in the shower.
No.
We've talked about this.
No.
I'm not allowed to capital either.
Okay. Commission comments? No. Appointments to board and committees. Appointment of Commissioner Otto to the Port Authority for a 3-year term.
Make a motion to appoint Commissioner Otto to the Port Authority Board of Commissioners.
I second. All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. And bids and contracts, signing of NeoGov contract for EMS recruiting and onboarding.
So, historically, EMS has used web services like Indeed or Monster to advertise. The problem with Indeed is that it's astronomically expensive. I believe our line expenditure was somewhere close to $15,000 on job postings last year. So, looking for a different alternative option. NeoGov, which their online advertising piece is governmentjobs.com. They also provide access to online applications, onboarding and recruiting software. So usually we've been doing that all by hand. But basically what would happen is somebody who would apply for a job, they'd fill out an electronic application. That would come into a user portal, basically, and we would be able to track and do all of their pre-hire stuff on an online website instead of doing it by pen and paper. This also gives us a fixed cost. So for the first year, the yearly subscription would be $5,697 with a $3,000 implementation and training fee for a first year cost of $8,697. It would then, for every year subsequent, be the $5,697 plus whatever adjustments they have. So this would be a substantial savings and a fixed cost on that recruitment line item. So.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'll offer a motion to proceed with the EMS recruiting and onboarding. First year costs $8,697.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion of bid opening 2021-28 interior painting.
For the interior painting on the third floor for the prosecutor's office, we didn't have anyone submit a response, so I'm just looking for some guidance on what you guys are wanting to do
Let's
next.
just move this to the end.
Yep,
This may be.
Yep.
If
yep,
everybody's all right with that?
Yep.
And do this other stuff.
yep, let's get, okay. New business, Toys for Tots. Okay. Since I came in office, we kind of jumped on board the Toys for Tots throughout the county, and I appreciate everybody participating, and Eric kind of took it farther. Brian has 2 years now, and they give everything, so I have a $100 bill in here, just, Mitchell,
If you can't read it, they don't win, right?
EMS.
Oh,
yeah, okay. But thank everybody.
So, just to give everybody a quick update, in talking to Harold from Toys for Tots, they had roughly a 600 request increase over last year for a total of like 1,900 requests this year. So, just in the county efforts alone, we were able to cover those 600 additional requests as a county agency. So, thank you to all of you who participated. You know, I think the final number came out that as a county we contributed 30% of the donations to Toys for Tots this year. So,
Which is really good.
deal.
Thank you. Okay, years of service certificates. And Debbie's got all that,
We
right?
usually do this at the Christmas party. We're obviously not having a Christmas party this year, so we thought it would be a good idea to bring the certificates here for the people that have been here over 20 years. And well, not everybody, but
Okay.
just the 20-year mark here.
So, 20 years, Christopher M. Gunnarsson.
I don't think he's here.
Okay. 20 years, Christopher J. Sukanic.
He wasn't able to make it either.
20 years, Kevin L. Bishop.
Kevin, yay. This is why you still have animal control, Sheriff. Thanks for putting up with us. 20 more, right?
If I could, all three of you guys.
Yep, we're coming.
Wow, this is what makes a Christmas party take so long. Suck it in, Jeff. That's all I got.
Thank you,
I
Kevin.
wore my tight belt today.
And then these are the 25-year.
25 years. Mark F. Zimmerman.
Woo!
Hot
And those two gentlemen, Public Works.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid to walk back and forth. James S. Flesha, 25 years.
Man, we
Way
gotta
to
wait
go,
a minute.
Jim.
Gotta wait a minute. You were on video, you weren't on camera. Thank you.
Thanks again. Thank you all.
One.
30 years.
Woo!
Sharon E. Stanley. Congratulations. So you rode your tricycle to work when you first started?
At least.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.
You moved on us.
Right.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Any more?
Nope, that's the big year one.
That's the big. Okay.
These that are still on the table are other departments that are the 5, 10, 15 year. Please take your employees their plaque. You see them, they're marked by department. But
Yes, you're invited to stay, but you don't have to.
one more, I think.
One
maybe
more?
some of them are staying for the soda committee.
Oh.
Decided to give 10 $5, $50. I was
gonna say.
10 $50 awards for just being part of the county. And it comes from the soda
Well,
fund.
we usually do it at Christmas party as well.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but this is coming from the soda fund. So,
And this is our chairperson for the soda fund.
all right, first is David Morris.
EMS.
Here, you want me to write that on there, or Debbie's got it? Okay. Tape it to it. Don't let me tape it. Staple? No, okay. I just like to use staplers.
Together.
Sorry, they're very little.
Brennan Howard.
Right here.
Must be present to win.
No.
Oh,
Glad we made them work today, right?
yeah.
Cameron Case.
And then whoever sticks around will do the 50-50 drawing at the end, right?
We forgot to collect that. Not allowed.
Yeah, Bill always sells the tickets. Yeah.
David Newman.
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 Newman. Yeah, thank you. Nobody else has seen Seinfeld here.
Yeah,
Some of y'all aren't old enough.
Keegan Bonham. Laverne Frederick. Stanley Smallwood.
Sorry.
Charles Duncan. And finally, drum roll, Jessica Campinger.
Jessica.
Okay.
Thanks, Melissa.
Yes, thank you. Buy more
Buy
soda,
more
don't.
soda.
Thank you guys for your service.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Another 30.
She didn't say no.
Let's just do 5 at a time, right?
And if these are any of your departments, please
Yeah.
take them with you.
And we will be checking to make sure they get them at the sheriff's department. Just saying.
Here, give me my coffee, I mean, my,
Don't take out pictures.
If you can't trust the sheriff, who can you trust?
Coroner. Apparently.
pass me out a copy.
Okay, we will go back to our agenda. Accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review.
Motion for approval accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Assessor's office to present errors and omissions and natural disasters.
Yes.
Dawn, I know that Jackie sent you copies here.
Yes. To me including, yes.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, that's Tom's. Tom did not make copies. He said that you usually do these afterwards.
Okay.
Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 5. Do you want to do them one at a time, or do you all together, or?
How many do you have?
Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, looks like
Let's do them all together.
6, yeah, looks like 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah, let's do them all together. We got a
Okay.
lot to do today, so.
Do you want me to go over each one of them? Okay.
Yep.
The first one we have is 1917 Hunters Haven Drive. Looks like we were told it should have been removed in 2021. We got it off for 2022, but did not get it off in 2021 in error.
Did we get that list emailed?
I didn't
We usually
know.
have the list of them. I'm trying to find it.
No,
Yeah,
that's
Jackie said she sent out an Excel sheet with those on there.
Okay.
This have come last week?
The next one I have is 315 East Dunklin Street. This one was purchased by a government entity, so it was exempt for all of 2021.
I found it, Harry. It's on December 9th. So we had gotten one from Tom too, so I was trying to. That was on something totally different, I guess.
Okay.
We've got 6912 Route M. This is another one that should have come off in 2021. It was removed for 2022, but it was not taken off for 2021.
What was the address on that one, Chris?
6912 Route M, as in Mary. Okay, this one is 3005 Oak Lawn Drive. Bought the land vacant. It had an old house on it. I approved the removal of it for 2021. We didn't hear from him until later on in the year, so that's why it didn't go on prior to the certification. When he purchased the property, technically there was a building on there, or a home, but it wasn't livable, and it had been taken off of the realtor's information, so that's 3005 Oak Lawn. And then 320 East McCarty Street, purchased by the city on 10/21. Need change, let's see, purchased, removed for 2021, and then, of course, we've got it already changed for 2022. And then, let's see. These are natural disasters, these next couple I have. 16206 Shepherd Street in Eugene. There was a fire, and it was prorated. The land was on for 12 months of building on up until the time of the fire. And another one at 2214 Tanner Bridge Road. This one was another fire, and the land was on for all 12 months, but we took the building off in a prorated amount. Okay, that's all of the residentials I have. Do you want to do those as one?
That's not
I've
the
got
ones
one
that I have.
commercial.
That wasn't even on the list.
Go ahead with commercial. Tom said he,
2021, right?
pardon?
I'm trying to find it on the list that Jackie sent. None of them really matched. So,
None of the addresses matched? Any of those I just got done reading?
nope, not even, well, I think the Route H one did, but the other one had 1718 Southwest Boulevard for the,
That'd be,
and E&O didn't have them either. So,
let me find out real
and
quick
that's,
if it's,
Route M was 6912, what you said, I got 6914 on this list. We had Millbrook Road, a Union Street, Miller Street, High Street.
okay.
6912 is the mailing address, the 6914, Route M is the actual site address.
So we actually have the property locations, not the mailing addresses.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I've been reading
Okay, then
the
that would make
names,
sense.
my mistake. Okay. The natural disasters were 10507 Millbrook Road. Find that one?
Yes.
That was the first one. I'm sorry, this is the E&O, not the natural disaster. Yeah, this is the one that should have been removed for 2021. We got it for 2022, but we did not get it off for 2021. The next one is Union Street. I don't have a numerical address. This is purchased by the city, I believe.
School district.
School district? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Union Street, that would make sense, yeah. So that goes exempt for all of 2021, and then, of course, going forward. And then, of course, the 6912 is the route, or the site is 6914 Route M. It's the same, it should have come off in 2021 and was missed. And then the one I gave out is 3005 Oaklawn Drive. The location is 3220 Shot Road, and that's the one that had the dilapidated house on it. And then the next one, this is 1324 East Miller was the one that was purchased by the city.
Okay.
So it comes off.
I just wasn't following because of the addresses, but I was kind of following down.
Yeah, and I apologize, I haven't had my coffee yet. Maybe my eyelids are still a little heavy. Okay, the first one with the fire is 15512 Route H. And then the other fire is 1718 Southwest Boulevard. Okay, and then the commercial one, this is the 202 East High Street, and I think let me make sure it's not both of the addresses. This was something that was done by the city. I don't know, they were supposed to have a hearing. I don't know if they ever did about doing an abatement on this. This is where they tore down the buildings. So basically they've created an abatement that removes them from the tax roll, or removes property from the tax roll, but the taxes are actually collected by the city or paid to the city.
What's the address on this one, Chris?
202 East High.
You sure it's not 200?
The one they tore down.
200 was on the corner.
200, and then the one next to it wasn't habitable while they were waiting to tear down 200. So,
That's probably what it was,
So
because
I
it was
think-
not habitable.
yeah.
Yeah, and Tom's got 202 East High Street, and Weberg was the name of the owner.
That was not the corner lot that was torn down. That's the one next to it.
Yeah,
One that still
yeah.
It's
stood,
202.
yeah,
200
the
was on the
common wall.
corner. That's true. Yeah, okay.
So, Tom had been trying to get the information on that as far back as July 15th of 2020 to get the actual abatement papers, and didn't hear from them until December 3rd of this year, after numerous emails and calls. So that's why this was on the
The
list.
202's rented now, so it will go back on,
Yes,
Okay.
it would be on for 2022.
okay.
And that's it.
I don't think I have any questions on, so
Paige, is there something you need to sign on those?
That, yeah, it looks like I need to sign at the top. I haven't done that yet. I just got the paperwork today.
These will need to be signed by everybody. I don't have one for the last one. These type one.
These that I have here are the assessor's copies. Can we get copies
You
made
want
of this one? That Tom didn't make
motion,
copies
please?
of this. I don't know why, but he said that
Approve.
something about that once it was all done.
Assessor's
and it
error
went to
and
you, it
omission.
would make the changes, which
Hang on, I'm trying to figure out which ones are which here.
Came up here.
I'm just missing the one, so that's probably in late.
Yeah.
These are the E and O ones, looks like. So I'm making a motion, we approve the errors and omissions presented today.
I'm going to vote no since the presentation was so poorly organized. I'm a little confused as to what properties we have.
Give me a break.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye. I'm sorry, no. But, hey, Chris, while we're talking about errors and omissions, did you get a letter from the Secretary of State's General Counsel this last week?
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly?
Possibly, yeah.
Did he possibly correct you on a statement you made here before the commission?
Yeah, actually, that was really strange that I misspoke when I said the Secretary of State. I should have said the State Auditor. And the Chief Counsel for the Secretary of State's office thought that it was necessary to send me a letter saying that it wasn't the Secretary of State's office.
Well,
think
because-
he had a lot more important things to do.
Well-
I think that, and we're not here to discuss that today, Harry. How about we get done with what we're here to discuss? And if you want to make another day to do that, we can do that, and I'll get all the facts and figures for you.
Did you or did you not accuse me of breaking the law? And if I didn't believe you, I should check with the Secretary of State's office. And you received a letter from the Secretary.
I meant the State
Well-
Auditor.
Okay, so isn't it fair for them to tell you misspoke in a letter?
Is it really that big of a deal?
Well, it was a big enough deal for you to bring it up, so it's a big enough deal for you to be corrected.
Okay. Okay. Sure, fine, Harry. And
Okay.
did you understand everything that went on the radio the next day after you told all the half-truths? And they were corrected.
More-
And you
more to
check with
come,
the Tax
Chris.
Commission on
More-
that if
more
you'd
to
like to
come.
verify.
Okay.
So, let's stay out of the
Okay.
weeds, shall we?
Are you talking about the comp time, which you're not?
No,
really
he's
at
talking
liberty
about
to
the
change
ratio,
that.
talking about the ratio studies.
I'm talking about you claiming to be
And I have-
either the best or the fourth best assessor in the state, per the
Based
State
on the
Tax
ratio
Commission.
study, Based on the ratio
You
study.
said it,
And
okay.
you said that I cherry-picked all those numbers, and that is an absolute falsehood. The State Tax Commission does that. I don't have any control over what gets taken. Now, I suggest that we take care of the business that we're here to take care of, and if you want to get into a pissing contest, we can do that some other time.
Okay. And I suggest that when you bring these errors and omissions to us, they're better organized than you brought them to us today. You gave us
We're so
mail.
busy down there that we don't have time to do a lot of stuff. And
How-
we're shorthanded, so we're trying to get some more people. And we're wasting more time right now that I could actually be over there doing some work.
I ask that you, when you bring an error and omission report, you give us the address of the property rather than the mailing address of the owner.
Honest mistake there, Harry, okay?
Okay.
Take a chill pill. It's not that big a deal.
Okay. Renewal,
We got the natural disaster ones yet.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so I think I figured them out. So I'll make a motion to abate the properties presented, tax records today.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Well, we got you here, we'll go out of sequence a little bit, but add for
So-
residential real estate.
I don't have the list for the one for the Madison Streets. I don't, is that one the same as those?
I'm confused on that abatement.
Which one?
Oh, really?
202 East High Street.
Well, that was, the property was temporarily taken over by the city. The city paid for the destruction, is my understanding. And then the property went back to the owner, the 202 property went back to the owner. The city put an abatement on it, so the owner would not be paying taxes to all the other entities, but they put into the agreement that the taxes would be paid to the city during that time to cover the cost of the destruction, is my understanding. And we tried getting information from the attorneys there. We tried with Ryan down at the city, and Nathan Nicholas was involved in it. And Tom's got numerous emails in here where he attempted to contact them and did not get a response on the paperwork. He didn't hear anything from Ryan down at the city until December 3rd, stating that.
Do we want to get
for-
clarification on that before? 202, I believe, is where there's a children's clothing store now, and then there's a loft apartment upstairs. But it wasn't habitable while 200 was still standing, because they were figured they shared a wall.
And really,
But
It's my understanding that back in the day, way back, the city would number the corner street or corner property 200, 300, 400. The first one was 00. They don't do that anymore. They start with 202. So I think the confusion here is there was a 200.
okay,
It was taken down.
Yeah.
202 is remaining. They had a common wall. That fight has been settled. So I don't know if you should say we're going to take care of 200, or since now it's the first lot is 202. I don't know. That's where the confusion comes
yeah,
up.
I don't either, and Tom has 202 East High on the property. I'll see if there's anything.
can you kind of check on that and get back to
Yeah,
us?
I can.
'Cause I think,
I can, in fact, I'll do that.
I don't know, what's the deal with them accepting all the money, I guess?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I don't.
Well,
Based on the amount of the abatement and
Okay,
how
let me-
they're breaking it out.
Let me read a communication. Well, I think you all have a copy of this. This is Tom's explanation. He says, "Hello, it is my understanding that Chris will be appearing before the County Commission on December 14th to present a request for adjustments. I feel that it is necessary to include some background information for the request for 202 East High Street. This is the property that adjoined the building at 200 East High Street that suffered major structural issues and subsequently was demolished after an extended period. In an email dated 7/15/2020, Mr. Nathan Nicholas of Lauber Municipal Law with City Council Ryan Molman copied, indicated that due to a Chapter 353 on the subject property, on January 1st, 2021, the property should be assessed at $0. Therefore, it will owe no taxes in 2021 and thereafter. On 12/31/2020, I was sent the redevelopment special tax bill repayment agreement and ordinance 16048, which approved the Chapter 353. After reviewing the submitted documents, it didn't appear that what Nathan previously indicated exactly agreed with what was in the submitted documents. I emailed Ryan with Nathan copied, see attached, asking for guidance. On 3/15/21, I emailed them again. Nathan responded that he would get back to me in 2 days. After not hearing back again, I again emailed both on 4/12/2021 with no response. Eventually, before the book closed, a decision was made in our office to make the entire property exempt under the 353. On 12/3/21, I received a call from Ryan indicating that for 2021, that the value of the land only should be on the assessor's tax rolls for 2021. As I had been told something different previously and there were the unanswered emails, I asked him to please provide guidance in writing, as I was sure that there would be questions about why our office was requesting a change in December. On 12/7/2021, I was sent a schedule for the life of this abatement. See third attachment above. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. His mother's in the hospital and he's leaving 10 a.m. today, so that's why he's not here to do this. Let me see.
Kristen, the city
this
may,
was-
excuse me for interrupting, but I think the city may be trying to recoup some of their demolition expenses that they have incurred. That's a little bit of a guess, but this is rather unclear.
That's kind of what it said in the 353. That was what they were doing to recoup their costs. But then all the rest of us don't get any tax dollars from it.
see, I'm still confused whether it's 200 they're talking about or 202, because 202 is standing, and that abatement, I think, didn't it say that it would carry on? Because I think now that it's occupied again, I think
200's bare ground.
200 is bare ground, but 202 is what,
Yes. I believe it is occupied. I can,
so are they asking for an abatement for,
No, they want us
for
to tax them.
both of them.
oh,
Because right now it's sitting there empty, but
Yeah.
they want us to tax them to it's a special bill that they just get the money for to help recoup the cost, I guess.
Pretty much.
So, I mean, as long as it's all in the up and up, and that's what it's for, I don't remember seeing one like this. It's for 25 years though, if you look at the chart.
Well, in the percentage of abatement changes, like it's 100%
Next
of the
year.
tax based on the land only in the first year, and then 0% of the tax in year 2 through 10, and then 50% of the tax base from year 11 to 25. It's just an odd abatement process that I've not seen before.
Yeah.
And the assessor's office has no control over how the abatement's written or anything like that. I only have to put it into action. Now, supposedly the city was supposed to have a public hearing, so all of the taxing entities would have an opportunity to pose questions to them. I don't know if that happened or not. I couldn't find any record of it.
Huh.
So probably the people that know the most about this would be Ryan down at the city and Nathan Nicholas.
Did
That
you
should
get with
we-
them, Jill, maybe, and see if we can get a better explanation?
Yeah, I'm not
About
prepared
what
to.
happened in 200 and 202.
I'm not prepared to
Yeah.
Well, it's just something different. I don't
prove that.
want to make sure that if the assessor's office get audited on this, that we're not approving something that should not have been, or
Yeah.
we should.
I've got a copy of the 353. I can send it over to you. I'll have to scan it. It's
Send me whatever you have.
quite a
Okay.
few pages.
Yeah.
Does a 1 week delay matter on this if we take care of it next week?
The only thing that we have to be concerned about is the closing of the finance books at the end of the year. So I guess that would be a Debbie thing.
Chris, I don't need that whole thing, but could you send me what you're
This packet
relying
here?
on right now?
Sure.
For an explanation?
I just
Yeah.
forwarded Tom's email to you, and that's what we had to
Is
look
that what it
at,
is,
so.
Jeff?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's got the agreement from the city or whatever, but if you can look up the 353 stuff and,
Oh, I'll call Ryan.
Now, the email that, the first one I read about, where Tom says hello, and then the explanation, that was sent to you all on the 10th of December, it looks like, from what I can see.
yeah, it's one of
So
the.
you might have that record, but that doesn't, cover a whole lot of ground there. And then I've got, the records of Tom trying to contact Nathan Nicholas or Ryan down at the city all the way back to, through 2020, I believe.
Yeah. Bless you. Okay, yeah, I don't think we'll take any action on that
Okay.
today until we get more clarification.
That is not a problem for me.
Okay, and then we're gonna,
We could put it on next week.
yeah, we'll put it on next week's agenda. And then we're gonna move down to ad for residential real estate appraiser position. Chris had sent me an email.
Yeah. What I was wanting to do is, and we haven't done it before, and there's a good reason for that. The International Association of Assessing Officers has a website, and we could put an ad out there for commercial residential appraiser, and it will go out to, be available to everybody that is a member of IAAO. The problem with it is the ad goes out for 30 days, and it's $300. And that's why I haven't ever done it before. And I know we're getting a little bit desperate, and I know you gentlemen talked about some of the positions in the budget time. This is probably going to be the most direct way for anybody who's actually certified to know that it's out there. But I haven't done it before because of cost.
Yeah. Let me ask Sheila, do you, since you're our HR guru, do you think this is maybe one of the best ways to,
If that'll reach certified tables of cost and reasonable compared to fees, if the need would be higher.
okay,
We've done this with EMS. I don't know if we did any of that with your sheriff, but we were looking for, trying to fill some spots. So, I mean, we, reach out and try different things. If we keep doing the same thing over and over, we'll get the same results. So,
Yeah.
I don't
And-
mind
and-
trying it for a month. Let's see if we can get this spot filled.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm only wanting to do it one time because of the cost, and hopefully
Okay.
we'll see something.
A motion to approve the ad for residential real estate appraiser position at a cost of $300?
That's the last price I had from them, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Anything else?
nope,
All right,
just
I'll see
kind
if
of
I
check
can
on
get
200 and 202.
Yes, I will do that. And Jill, I will send you the things as soon as I get over there.
Renewal of the county's property and liability coverage for the 2022 year.
Save the good for last, right?
I sent you guys an email last Thursday after me and Harry met with Jeff Knott. They're our agent of record for the county. This will be, we're ending our third year with Travelers. Before that, we were with Mofirm for quite some time. We've had a rough couple of 3 years, so our claims loss is higher, and so they're coming in with an 18% increase. They did look around back to Mofirm. They did look at One Beacon, but they are suggesting we stay with Travelers for 2022. There are some deductibles that are going up, basically doubling. You guys got any questions? Let's see, what else did I say? Oh, we talked about the cyber insurance, the new requirements that Travelers has. We will not be able to go through them for that coverage, but not Brick and Jeff did find us other coverage with another carrier. And so I know Brian's going to be bringing back to you guys about the dual access. It's become quite popular in the last year with COVID maybe, or just all the apps that we have, that people are accessing our data different ways, and we got to make sure we keep that information safe from hackers and all the other bad people out there. So that multi-function authenticity is coming to you guys this year from Brian. Gave us those lost runs, and I passed those to you guys. So basically, I'm just here today asking for approval for the 2022 year to stay with Travelers.
I'm surprised Travelers didn't just say, no, we don't want to offer insurance.
Debbie and I sat with Jeff and Rick Knott last week. We got into the weeds on this thing. We went through the experience ratios and the experience that we incurred. We have 23 more vehicles now than we used to have. There are lots of reasons. Excuse me?
Yes, since 19.
Okay. And as a result, it is a big increase, but our options are limited here, and I'm going to suggest that we stay with them.
I agree.
If I could just get you to sign this letter of intent to go to Travelers, to go to Not.
I'll offer a motion that presiding commissioners sign the letter of intent for the county's property and liability insurance for the year 1/1/22 through 1/1/23, based upon the quote from Travelers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Approval and signing of EMPG mini grant. Can we supersize
Good
it?
morning.
Morning.
Well, we were very fortunate. The EMPG mini grant came back. We did not get approved for everything, but they did approve $42,364, and that'll be for the replacement of 11 batteries and for one new warning siren.
Siren, you gotta.
Siren.
You haven't been around Bill long enough.
That's right. We're looking at the Honey Creek location, and
Yeah.
I think we found a good location.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions?
Nope.
No match is free money.
That's right.
Yeah.
Zero match.
We like that.
Till we have to fix one because the woodpeckers got hold of it. I got it.
You know, maybe sheriff's deputies, when they're out, can,
Yeah.
Only if it's a goose.
We get in trouble when we shoot birds, sir.
Yeah. Like it does.
We never live it down as apparent as of today.
that was Warren Hearns, that's a long time ago.
I'll offer a motion to approve and sign the EMPG mini grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Now, Patrick, you had suggested we wait till the end. Should we, do you want me to do this other stuff?
If we can go right before ambulance, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's fine, thanks.
I'm just going by what
Are
Patrick
you
had.
talking about the retaining wall?
Yes, I got you.
Yeah, because I can call Jordy up here if we want to have him up here. For
Yeah,
that.
why don't you?
I know. With maintenance, or do you need him up here for anything? Right now, not really? Okay. I just told him he didn't need to sit here for an hour and wait while we did all this other stuff, so. Okay, if we need him, we can call him.
Let's push that to, let's go through the next three things and then we'll do this. Is that okay?
So you wanna do the,
I'm good,
Just so
whatever.
they can get out of here.
Yeah,
Is it good?
whatever.
Oh, the EMS isn't as important as you guys. You guys are gonna get in trouble now.
yeah, we'll do the.
I think so.
All right, you say.
Like most of you already have this, but I went ahead and printed this out so you can see a picture of what I was talking about in case you had any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. So, good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
As you can see there in front of you, we are asking for a, we're requesting to replace a moldboard on motor grader number 285. This is the grader that we station at the Centertown shed. When this machine was purchased new in 2013, the operator requested a 12-foot blade instead of the standard 14-foot blade. And that's, you know, a 14-foot blade's what's pretty much standard to maintain a 20-foot wide road. We called and received 3 price quotes. 2 came from Fabic Caterpillar to replace this moldboard. The first quote was for a brand new moldboard, and it was $16,410.29 plus freight. And the second quote was also from Fabic Caterpillar for a used takeoff moldboard off a salvage motor grader, and it was at $11,400. Our mechanics supervisor done some checking around, and we found a new aftermarket moldboard from Weller Tractor Salvage. It's brand new. We talked with other agencies. They've had a lot of success with replacing their moldboards with this aftermarket moldboard. And that's at a cost of $8,000, as you can see there in the amount. This money to purchase the moldboard would come out of our 2021 repairs budget, which was last year's approved budget, and then the account numbers listed there below. Nothing needs to be signed. This was just a courtesy to bring this before you.
Yep.
That's half the price, yeah.
Thanks for looking, or checking, or,
Tyler did all the work. I'm just
Good.
standing here or sitting here talking on his behalf, so.
okay.
Does he have, you look like a puppet, is that,
Yeah.
okay,
Make him dance, make him dance.
okay,
We good?
good.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So then, do you want to do the signing of the final change order for High Point Road Bridge? Since you want to get before EMS?
Easy on me, Jeff. So this is the approval and signing for change order, the final change order for High Point Road. The contractor is GWH Landscape Contracting, and it's for High Point Road Bridge Improvements, project number 2019-803-1. Primary reason for additional cost was an increase in the amount of rock ditch liner needed to complete the project. And then we had one change order on the job for unsuitable material was discovered in the subgrade before the pavement was placed. The contractor removed the unsuitable material and replaced it with 18-inch rock base. Overall, this change order is an increase of construction by $15,755.80. This project is also part of the BRO funding from MoDOT, so we will receive 80% reimbursement on this.
Yep, I'm good with it.
Yep.
I'll offer a motion to sign the final change order for High Point Bridge Improvements Project number 2019-803-1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approval and signing of the agreement for professional engineering services for the design of Northport Drive and Westport Drive Stormwater Project, project number 2021-201-0.
So this agreement is with Central Missouri Professional Services for $14,110. And this will provide design services to provide plans and specifications for Northport and Westport Drive Stormwater Project. This project will be let in combination with a larger project to rehabilitate the pavements in the whole subdivision. The need for this project became evident due to the flooding this area of the county experienced in late June of 2021.
Eric, is this one that you and I have discussed a time or two?
I know, back about 2 months ago, I presented kind of our findings of the flooding issues that we had, and this is one of the project
Okay.
areas that we're looking at doing. And with this project, it would be designed in time to be able to bid it this spring with the full subdivision pavement upgrade, as Matt said.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Yep.
I'll offer a motion to approve and sign the agreement for professional engineering services for the design of Northport Drive and Westport Drive Stormwater Project number 2021-201-0.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Patrick, I put you off as long as we could. Carnegie Building retaining wall discussion. Thank you. Yeah.
The same as what you emailed.
A couple half-size plans here, we got a full size, we also will have it on the screen there too to discuss. Do you all want, might be helpful to look at these here.
The same thing that y'all emailed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you care to first copy. Yeah, it's on this. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got to look at them and.
So, as you know, Patrick's been working on the Carnegie building. Started off with the handicap ramp and steps replacement in the front, and then that got tabled into going into next year and looking at the whole facility and the concrete work around it, also tying that into pavement, parking lot replacement or rehab next year with the full county parking lot project that we're going to bid with our asphalt overlay. So Patrick's been working on it, and I'll let him. It's kind of gotten down to some issues with the retaining wall in the back, and he can explain where that led and where to go from here.
So, after we got started on the project for the expanded scope for redoing some of this other site stuff, we did a walkthrough with Greg Camp and Eric and got to this retaining wall, and obviously it's showing some signs of age with some cracking. There's some rotation of the wall. A lot of the work that we're doing, we're replacing concrete above the wall. We believe the wall is about 30 plus years old, so probably getting close to the end of its life. We've got to the point where we've got to make a decision on whether you make an investment above the wall and say 5 to 10 years the wall fails, or we need to do something further. Do we want to invest the money now? And that's kind of why we're here today. So we've looked at some options. We've got one basically where we could replace everything above the wall, address some of the drainage issues the best we can, basically replacing everything as is. The second one is possibly adding a curb along the upper portion of the wall, but stay away from the actual wall. That way we're not changing much with the wall and possibly can address issues with the wall in the future without tearing out a bunch of pavement and redoing stuff that we've done. And then the third option that we looked at was possibly replacing the wall and bringing that lower level of the parking lot from the alleyway up to the grade of the Carnegie Building. That way you don't have steps going down, and it takes care of your wall maintenance issue by replacing it with a new one, and hopefully lasts another 30 years. So, and the reason we came here today is just, there are considerable cost differences between the options, so probably need to get your guys' input on really how to proceed. So, you want to add anything, Eric? Or?
So can we bid this along with the steps on the front, so we,
The plan is to build it, or bid it as one package.
okay, yeah,
Get the most economies of scale, get the best price
Yeah.
overall.
yeah.
I think we're at a crossroads whether we want to spend the money to, I'm not sure I'd recommend rehabbing the wall, because I think you do that, I think you're still left with a crummy wall.
Yeah.
That long-term does need to be replaced, so I think you're really looking at option one. Or I'm sorry, I would look more at option 2 and 3, whether you want to do, here's the problem with paving it just like it is right now. You're putting that added pressure, which is there, causing a little bit of an issue right now with the wall to bow out. The more you put there, leads to more issues there possibly, or maybe a sooner failure. If you wanted to do it on the most economical way and just save the wall for a later day, just pave this area right here and just leave this as green space or something, just to minimize the impacts to the wall. And this would certainly be a cheaper option. And then the full option would be to replace the retaining wall, as Patrick said, and then build out a parking lot here on top at the same level as the basement floor of Carnegie. And that's going to be the most expensive option. Either option does have some stormwater issues to think about. The dude, or basically replace it like it is. There's still water running down and running to these buildings. That is a little bit of an issue. This option here is a little bit less stormwater impact to it, because you're taking away some pavement and actually redirecting a little bit down into the alley. And then this option, possibly look at a detention storage of some sort there to minimize the impacts downstream from there. So,
How many parking spaces do we lose in option 2?
Like 7.
7 spaces?
I know parking is a concern downtown. The way they stand now, it's double and triple parked, which is a problem in and of itself. And I guess they're working with it and make it work okay, but ideally that's not what you really want. So this option here gets rid of how many?
I think 7.
7.
Yeah, both options, I believe. The
Net
net's 7.
Net is one, 7.
And the third option, parking-wise, it is a gain?
No.
It's not a gain.
No-
It's
no
still a
ga-
net loss. It's 7.
Oh, no matter what, no matter which way we go?
Because on the second option, you're actually keeping that lower level yet, and you're losing.
You're just losing the double and triple park.
Yeah, the 4.
Okay.
You don't do anything down here. And then this option here, you're getting rid of down here, gaining some along here, but the net is still the same. You're still losing 7.
Yeah.
And the upper part is public defenders mostly, and not prosecutors.
I'm sorry.
Department heads.
Did you hear?
Parking above the wall is
Couldn't hear you,
currently
Debbie.
public defender and
Debbie, can you come to the microphone?
prosecutor.
Yeah, I had the post kind of, either that or my ears or, okay. What were you saying?
Oh, I'm sorry. Just the upper parking has been, on that one side, has been public defenders. They double deep, triple deep there. And below is the prosecutor. I think there's a few other ones in there. It's not an easy place to get in and out of, even with those steps coming up there. They're pretty steep right there.
These parking spaces here down below, to back out of there, you gotta pretty much back completely out down to here and then pull out. So they're not really easy to get in and out of, and then, like Debbie said, the steps are, that's an issue in and of itself. But it's functioned, it's worked for several years, so we're now at the point we're making some what we want to call permanent improvements. And which route do you go? You really have the three options. Parking, if parking's an issue, you just go back and put it like it is. I know we have the parking lot across the street at 209 Adams, which is handed.
But we're gonna lose some spaces there when so.
And I don't know, we got time to prepare this for bidding. It's not like we have to decide today. It might be something you'll want to think about, and we can have another little work session on it to talk more about it.
I'd like to take a look at it over there and see. I mean, right now I'm leaning that I think while we're doing this other work, and we have people in there, it's gonna make sense to do it and do it right. But I'd like to take a look at it. I mean, I got to look at this when you emailed it, and I didn't get a chance to run over there, so.
The fact that we're putting in retaining walls with the handicap ramp lends itself to doing a retaining wall with this too, so you got that same work going on.
Yeah, there's a pretty big price tag on it too, though, so it just kinda depends on what you wanna bite off now, and you're either gonna do it now or you're gonna do it later. So if you kick it down the road, it's gonna cost even more then, so we might wanna get it.
I'd probably add, I don't know if you've read the report, but we did consult with a structural engineer, and, you know, he doesn't feel like it's an imminent threat for failure. Now, he can't guarantee anything, but he's, you know, saying we're close to the life expectancy of the walls, so we might have 5 years, you might have 10, but nobody can really say, so. And the worst part is, if we go in and we start working next to the wall, and we have a failure during construction, then you're not left with a whole lot of options. You're going to have a big price tag for a change order that you didn't want, so it's something to consider.
I'm inclined to go in the direction that Jeff mentioned, do it right, do it complete, but maybe do it next week. Or we can just drill into this a little bit deeper till we feel safer with our decision.
So along with what Harry said, Jeff, I'd recommend tabling this discussion for 2 weeks or so, maybe
Okay.
through the holidays.
Okay, that's good.
And we'll bring it back up. After maybe have a little more time to work on it, and you had time to review it. And then look, just now that it's out there, talk to some of the other departments and see what they think about it too.
If you got questions and want to meet on site or something, I'd be happy to meet you guys up here, take a look at the wall too, whatever, so. Just let us know.
Probably take you up on that, we'll walk over there sometime. And
Yeah.
if there aren't any cars in there, I know that down there in the pit, it's hard to get in and out of there, but I don't know if doing anything to that retaining wall actually fixes that. It's gonna be tight quarters down there. But we lose some spots, so.
And if you had to build another buttress to support it, you may lose another spot.
Yeah.
With that, or it affects it, so.
It's a good thing Jeff's in charge of parking. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we want to go back to discussion of bid opening on interior walls before we do ambulance design? Or do we want to?
Oh, the painting, is that?
Yeah,
what
the
you're talking about?
painting,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, we can.
The
'cause that's
interior
it
painting.
before.
Do you wanna get the ambulance guys out of here?
Okay, okay.
Sorry,
Well, we're
Jeff.
just going to keep you,
Sorry,
we're
a
going to
couple
keep
of
you
other
waiting.
things.
Then we will go to the ambulance design
You want the call, you want it
discussion
ready for
meeting.
you?
I mean, I was part of this too, so.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
there
you
go.
were.
So you gotta stick around.
Even on holidays, she was present, and she went out to Osage with us, and she knows as much as.
All right, just a little recap. So we have met with 3 dealerships regarding the possible ambulance purchase in the year 2022. We've reviewed their products. The intended course would then be to build specs and open this for RFP. I've drafted a sort of a rough draft of the RFP with some specs based on what I think our direction will be. I've sent that draft to legal counsel and to Jess for review. But to move any further, we kind of need to agree on what the overall big ticket items are as far as type, engine types, those sorts of things. So that's what I'm looking for today is a direction to move forward with this on. Staff's here to provide feedback. We've gone back, done some research, and we would like to present the option of moving forward with 3 Type 1 ambulances, the 172-inch box on an Ford F-550 4x4 gas engine chassis. We have done the research on gas versus diesel. Staff has concluded that it is in our best interest to move and continue to move forward with gas. Alan is here to answer any technical questions you may have. But the overall request for the Type 1 ambulance would be to accommodate some of those sick interfacility trips that we do, also giving the crews more space, more safety, and also moving from a van chassis to a truck chassis that probably in the long run will have more reliability with bigger brakes, things that are built for the weight of these vehicles. So I'll open it up if you have any discussions for any of the staff in the room or further questions. But what I'd like to do is firm up the direction in which we're going on chassis today.
As we visited over some of these models that we looked at and talked about them, is it accurate that sometimes you move some very ill people and you need 2 people back there working on that patient, and that it almost takes a Type 1 to make that happen?
Correct. Some of the interfacilities, so hospital to hospital trips that we do require that critical care capabilities with, at a minimum, 2 paramedics in the back. In working with the hospitals over the last month, there may be even some situations now due to changes in their scope of practice where we're taking some hospital equipment with some hospital staff just due to the illness level of these people, and we really would need that extra space in those situations.
And we deliver these, let's say, accident victims. Is that also the case with Type 1s when we're taking someone to the trauma center that we don't have here in this city?
Correct. So these are generally the patients that we're moving from facility to facility are patients that exceed the capabilities of the local medical centers and need specialty care. The Type 1 ambulances also, present great opportunities working on our 911 in-town calls. If we have a cardiac arrest, you need a minimum of probably 3 people in the back of the ambulance providing care until we get to a local hospital. So this really does give us the ability to more comfortably work on the patient and better access.
Yeah, I'm fine with the Type 1. I think that'll kind of give us, some experience. So in the future, everything we order is a Type 1, or there's
Just you don't have to be very accurate on this answer, but 3 Type 1s versus 3 Type 3s, round numbers, we're talking $300,000 total?
Something on the conservative.
100 each?
Yeah, on the conservative side, I'd say that'd be a cost difference, but we won't really know until we get the specs finalized and receive some bids.
and truck chassis, so we're all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive?
It would be four-wheel drive.
Four-wheel drive,
Yep.
which I think some of the places you have to go for calls, I think four-wheel drive it's gonna be good.
Looking at the initial price, we would estimate that a diesel motor would be an initial $20,000 increase right off the bat. In talking to Alan, if we had to replace a gas engine, that would somewhere be in the ballpark of $10,000 to $15,000. So we would actually have an additional new replacement motor saved off the cost of the initial price that we could replace it, 200,000 miles if we had to. Hopefully we don't get there, but there is substantial cost savings, not only upfront, but with maintenance on the gas piece.
You think we'd get a volume discount with 3 versus
That would certainly be the hope.
Okay.
Can we look at the prices on the type 1 four-wheel drive, type 1 two-wheel drive, and then type 3, so we know what we're looking at? So we have exact numbers. Can we bid all 3 of them?
We could bid all 3 of them. The RFP that I've written is 50 pages long. So putting 3 different bids out would be a substantial lift, but
Well, we've talked about buying anywhere from 1 to 2 more every year to keep the things on rotating balance, I guess, if you want to call it that. But
I understand where you're going with it. I don't know how we obtain an accurate cost by staying within the goodwill and competitive fairness of the RFP process. You know, if we were to go out and ask prices, I think that would probably maybe put us in a situation that we don't necessarily want to be. We'll leave that, your input on that.
I mean, I think we could put more than one option within the RFP. It would just be a little more
Description in there.
The difference between, so, you know, basically, if we were to bid out a Type 1 and a Type 3, the interior configuration would be pretty much completely different. So we'd be writing 2 RFPs, which, I mean,
if you do a door forward on all of them, and for the most part, you just have to pick where you lose your extra space. I mean, you've got the ambulances now that you use that bid them that way. I mean, that's another thing, is the familiarity of having the same ones, but that's a big chunk to swallow going to the Type 1 4x4.
yeah, and we're not exactly sure what the ultimate price would be. That was just a ballpark figure that was passed along at one of those meetings. I would also say that we would have to do some digging on what the actual outfitting cost of the Demirs was, because there was a lot of aftermarket upfitting cost associated in addition to what the sticker price delivery was from the factory. These would have those costs all built into it.
I mean, we've got a healthy budget right now and balance in EMS, but that can dip into it real fast. So, I know you're saying only 1 more ambulance per year, but I think we're only looking at 2 per year to keep them in a good rotation, keep them in good shape. And that actually works for us too, because then they actually have some value. We don't run them to death, and we can get something before we run them off their chassis. So
I think I'm fine with just bidding 3 Type 1s, and then we can actually compare the 2 and say, hey, we should have had these all along, but.
I will say that the Type 1s do give us an easier option of remounting the box on a different chassis. In the Type 3s, there's some cutting and things that are involved in removing the box and putting it on a different van chassis. I don't think those problems are associated with the Type 1. So if we were to move forward, we could probably recycle the box on a different chassis and save.
we can recycle the boxes we have right now too. You can remount once or twice, can't you? I mean, I know there's a little bit of work on them, but they're still remountable at a discounted price, so. I was looking at all the options, just a big price tag, so. We've been doing real good with your budget, and I want to try to keep it going that way. So, what do we have in there this year? We're looking at about 700,000.
That was for the.
Poke your eye out.
We had 2 in there this year that
780.
didn't get purchased.
So I think, you know, Kristen and I did talk about the increased price associated with Type 1s, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you were comfortable with going forward with the increased price.
I'm comfortable with going to the Type 1 as the preferred approach, and what would stop us is if an astronomical figure that, or amount that's hard to swallow. But at this point, I'm headed that direction, like Sam is.
I am too. I had fun watching your people climbing all over those ambulances too, so.
I have fun watching them nod yes when you were talking.
Yeah.
So when we do go to bid, I guess we could include a line that says, you know, when submitting bids, if you could submit a like equipped model in a type 3 and not do a full RFP and just see what they come back with. a
I'm
rough
just curious what the
estimate.
price difference is.
Sure.
And then, as well as the four-wheel drive, because that's just more stuff to go wrong.
Would you, do you want to comment?
Everybody wants it all the time so that you can get and go everywhere. There's gonna be bigger trucks and take up more space and, I mean, how many times are we backing into stuff and those things are hard to see around too, so.
Do you want to comment on four-wheel drive versus maintenance on the auto chains and some of that sort of stuff?
Question. I think you're probably looking at $8,000 upgrade for a four-wheel drive versus two-wheel drive. There are going to be some maintenance costs. What they turn the independent wheel in has issues with them before chassis. We replace those on every now and again basis, but not a major issue with them. So there is going to be some things with four-wheel drive. Now, the chain side, I don't know what the price is when you purchase those and put them on, because I've only done one set, and that was a long time ago. But the upkeep on them yearly is normally the chain heads and the chain trays. Those things break off on a frequent basis, and they're replaced. But those are, I don't know if I call that minimal, but a couple $100 maybe per truck.
I think, you know, you've got to cover the whole county. You're going to be going down some gravel roads and some areas that are, so I feel better having our ambulances out there in bad weather with four-wheel drive. Just
throwing that out, since we do a lot of transports across the state. I mean, that's another thing that hit me, that if we're here in the county, we can get public works involved, we can do a lot of stuff like that, but if they're doing a transfer to St. Louis and bad weather's coming in, I mean,
yeah,
that's nice to have that four-wheel drive there.
yeah.
So, appreciate that. One of the other options that just came up in the last couple of days that will probably provide us somewhat substantial price saving is with the blue trucks that we are implementing now. Now that they're getting a few years older, there's one problem in particular with absorbing the heat that we see maybe a little bit in the summertime with the darker colors. We're also starting to see some swirl marks and some issues with the darker paint. So one of the options that we were throwing around just here in the last couple days was keeping the same graphics, the same design, but going back to a white body with blue accents, which would help us on both sides of that, and obviously that would result in zero custom paint.
I'm fine with that.
So just to, so we're meeting all the wishes. Move forward with the Type 1 as a primary design, but also ask for a like Type 3 estimate in the bid process.
If they don't care about getting all three Type 1s, I'm not gonna waste your time just for one. You got two votes. I just think we need to look at other options, so.
Well, if they can give us a ballpark figure on a Type 3, but I think.
They can give us ballpark figures on them right now.
I think the Type.
300,000 and 200,000, so there you go.
Well,
So,
I think
are you gonna get it if it comes up those prices regardless? Then why waste our time of getting 6 more bids for, without four-wheel drive, Type 1, one without sparkly diamonds on the front hood.
So it wouldn't be hard to do an alternate four-wheel drive versus non-four-wheel drive.
Two-wheel drive.
Correct.
I mean,
Correct.
that could be an alternate of
Right.
one versus the other, because the chassis itself, there's not a lot of specs that are going to change with that.
Correct. So the four-wheel drive versus the two-wheel drive, that's the easy piece. It's switching the two types where we probably get into a bigger headache with the spec piece. So if we,
I think we can compare the type 1 to the type 3s and we say, well, yeah, you know, we figured the type 1 was going to be, you know, what we need, but it's actually the type 3 works equally as well. Then when we come to the future and purchase more, we might go back to the type 3.
So I'll rewrite that, get this draft once Jill has taken a look at all the language and that sort of stuff. We'll work on doing the interior cabinet piece, making sure the interior design is what our people need it to be. And once we have this, hopefully, finally, in a final draft form, I will bring it back up here, so make sure you guys have a copy before we go out to bid. Anything?
Yep.
Good.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I don't know if we even want to mess with paint.
Well, apparently nobody else does either.
Right?
I think you've been eyeing those C-Serve vehicles.
Ooh, hey, we got an option for decorating for painting our ambulances. We have a local artist, and I will guarantee our ambulances would stand out. So
I don't know if we're going for stand out.
That's a good idea.
Get chrome, that would reflect the heat then, right?
It might.
Shouldn't have brought that up, should I? Now you're gonna be looking at that. Reflective.
Okay. So do we want to discuss the bid opening 2021-28 interior painting?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And ladies. What do you mean, do we want to? Do we have another option?
We can just do nothing.
So
We had no bids, right? Is that what you had said?
Yeah, we had no bid, so I'm just needing direction.
Okay, so we briefly talked about this. Jessica needs to know who's supposed to go and find people to bid this stuff. Is it her job? Is it maintenance? Are we supposed to get involved with it more? And I think we may need to look at a different option because we got a lot going on. That's not just painting. That's moving furniture, getting floor installed, and painting.
Ductwork.
And in what order all of it goes in. So it's almost a project within it. 3 projects within the project. Well, 4 if you count the ductwork, but.
Yeah.
So.
That one is moving forward. That one was bid and a contract signed. We're just waiting for them to have time. Is that right?
his equipment broke, so now it's rescheduled for January 8th. And then after that, Scruggs will come in, and the movers, furniture movers, are supposed to come look at it tomorrow to give us a quote for that.
And so they're gonna be doing, I don't know, a couple rooms at a time?
Scruggs thought that if we moved everything to one side, they could do the 3rd floor and then the mezzanine in one day, and then if we moved everything to the other side, they would get the other side done.
Okay.
That was just her thoughts.
But then we wanted the painting before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I told Scruggs it probably wouldn't be until closer to February for the carpet, so they're well
So
aware.
if you have everything moved out, you paint it, then you have them come in and do the floor, move stuff back in, and then you do the other side. And the painting and the flooring need to all be done. Not at the same time, but at the same time.
Yeah,
in
pretty
order.
close to each other.
Because you got the furniture moved out, and if it's gonna be like we did it down here, we have to clean our own desks out, box our stuff up, then you'll have movers. I don't remember, did maintenance move ours?
We basically moved our own.
So.
They helped us with some file cabinets. We had it empty, so. But we were renovating at the same time back here, so it was quite the mess for a while. It wasn't done in a week for sure.
But we didn't get any bids on painting, so.
So I think you've met the bid requirement on the painting. At this point, you have the option to call in whoever. You've met the requirement to go out to bid. You've received no bids. You now have an open slate to contact who you would like to do the painting.
And I think that's what she's asking for, is the direction to go ahead and do that. Or if you, I mean, it's really, she's done her part as a purchasing agent to try to solicit that. Now, we need somebody to be a project manager on this particular thing to coordinate all this stuff. She's willing to go out and get those.
Are you having a project manager bid
No.
then?
No. Maintenance, maybe somebody within maintenance, because it's gonna take quite a bit of coordination with that department and telling them what they need to do and have their stuff out by a certain time and that they have to move their stuff.
Tell what department they have to have it moved out?
The
Prosecutors?
prosecutor.
Well, we can do that with an email. Say, we're gonna be painting and doing flooring, y'all need to have your stuff moved out.
But we don't know what dates, we have.
Well, we'll have them when we get a painter lined up.
And
Once
who's
we
gonna
have,
oversee the project to make sure everything's done?
what do you mean to see that it's done?
That
So,
the paint was done, the floor was laid, I guess we should tell that, but you'll be surprised. They need decisions made, even like when we were in here, there were certain things that, even that thing that was in the ceiling, we had to take that out, we had to decide right then and there if we were taking that out and stuff, so there's decisions that need to be made.
Jessica, has anyone in the prosecutor's office sort of been the lead?
I've just been communicating with Locke.
Okay. Maybe perhaps you could say to Locke, this is going to get complicated. Can you identify a staffer that can also answer for it? Because sometimes he gets tied up. To say that you have someone that Jessica can go to and get answers quickly, move from spot to spot or adjust the schedule. And maybe they know a painter. I guess anybody can offer you, call Acme Painting, right? That's my idea. There is no Acme Painting. So you come up with a Joe's Painting and Bill's Painting and whatever and start making calls.
We do require the insurance and all of that kind of stuff, so it's kind of hard for.
Right. But there used to be something called Yellow Pages. I don't know if we have those anymore.
Yeah, that's about the only one. We've
The
always
Runkle?
used the same one. A lot of our painting has been done. Surprised they didn't bid, but
Jeff, do you know any painters?
Yeah.
I would say call the ones that have already done work for the county. Whoever painted this when we did it, whoever did the health department when we did it, I would use vendors that we've already
Had experience.
used in the
who
past.
did the judges' offices? Whoever did the judges' offices?
Yeah.
Was there some painting in Judge Green's courtroom when we finished that back in, when was that?
Was that part of GBH's contract?
Yes, well, yeah, but so they've subbed it out probably,
Right.
so we're talking to GBH about across the street, ask them for a lead.
Yeah.
so
Who's
it's her
doing
direction.
that?
So it's
The
her
purchasing agent or the maintenance guys? Whose job is that at that point to make these calls?
That kind of call, I think she can't help with. She can't solicit bids for you. When it gets down to telling the attorney they got to move out of that office to get the work done and get your stuff out, I think that's got to be a combination.
Well, and then whenever I do the quotes, I need maintenance. I need someone there from maintenance to help make decisions or know what to do, because I shouldn't be the one that says that needs to be painted white or whatever.
Right.
So I'm gonna need Jordy, Greg, someone.
We can tell them to pick a paint color. Don't need maintenance doing that. We're not painting all different colors in
No.
every office. We're not gonna
No.
buy
Well, right.
17 different gallons of paint.
But for now,
So-
we'll go ahead and solicit a couple of vendors to see if they'll come, and then we'll get back with you guys on
Okay.
that. And maybe talk to finding somebody in his office. That can be the key point.
Okay.
That's why we need a maintenance department. We could paint it ourselves. Hell of a lot cheaper too. We got some fences that need to be put up, or, well, they're not fence, they're just dividers. And they can be put up pretty easy too.
Okay. Does that give you direction?
Yep.
Okay. So do we want, before we do closed session, do we want to do budget discussion if necessary?
No, I
No.
need the answer from your close to make some decisions on the budget.
Oh, okay.
But were we also doing did we extend the hazard pay? Did you say we didn't do that, or?
The policy, I did, is that Jill waiting for her approval before I pass it to you all?
not to be picky, is it hazard pay or is it premium pay?
Premium pay
Okay.
initially under our code.
I
Okay.
wonder for us three, you'll call it hazard pay. Okay, so premium pay. So we're waiting on the policy before we can
I
extend it.
drafted the policy, there's like 3 highlighted areas in it that need to be decided on.
By today?
Avon, Collie.
That's
By
your
next
call.
Tuesday?
But we're
When do we
in the
need it?
period that you all said you wanted to apply it if we move forward. That period started on Sunday. And
So
so
we're waiting
Jill
to-
has to bless it before I can give it to
Yeah,
you
I
and
just
you
got
can
it
divide
Friday.
it.
Okay. So is
What's
it,
it need to be
I'll
done?
look at it today, so.
Okay.
Big deal. It's not very.
Once Jill blesses it, I can make the revisions that she offers and then it's your all's.
is next Tuesday too late?
It's a very quick turnaround then to get that information out to the department heads and then get them to fill out all the information and get it back to us by Thursday. It's Thursday by 10 is payroll. So they'd have to have it back to us by.
Can we approve a contingent upon Jill's okay of the policy?
Have you guys?
And we
seen
can
it
also
or
come
seen
back
it?
later this afternoon at 4 o'clock and do it if we had to.
Do that.
Could we,
That's fine.
okay, let's do it. Let's 4 o'clock today?
I mean, let's just get stuff
Yeah,
done.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
If we wait till next week, it's gonna be a headache for you.
Yeah, it's too quick. 4 o'clock this afternoon when we're,
Put that on the agenda at this point for 4 o'clock?
it's all, is it already, no, it's not on here, is it?
It's not.
And we sit in recess until 4:30, so we can come back into session at any point, so.
It would have
so-
to be, I guess, under old business.
It is old business, we've been dealing with it for
Yeah, that's true.
We talked about it. so-
ever.
Okay.
Okay.
So, we're gonna approve it after we get done with budget, or are you gonna
No.
approve it based on contingent? on-
Well, at 4 PM this afternoon, we'll have it in front of us. We'll have HR, General Counsel, brought it to us. We make a decision at 4 o'clock today. That gives you time to contact department heads back and forth, and it's on the next paycheck. Is that the plan? Am I getting too far out of the head of the herd here?
I think there's a lot of steps to be completed between now and actual payment, so I don't know that you're gonna turn it around that quickly.
Well, we certainly wouldn't turn it around that quickly if we wait till next Tuesday to
Correct.
adopt it.
No.
The only chance to turn it around is to do it today, or set the policy today. True?
Yeah.
Looks like,
So if nobody gets their paperwork in time for the next pay period, if they don't get it together, then we go to the next pay period and
how about 3 o'clock instead of 4?
I was gonna say 4 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, 3 o'clock. I'm not gonna be there for this.
I don't know that our budget stuff's going to take till 3 o'clock. But I don't know how long it's going to take Jill to review.
well, we can come back in
Do-
at
It's
3.
take me less than a half an hour.
I wish we'd just come back after we get done with the budget.
You can go look
okay.
at it now, as far as I'm concerned, then, and we can do it in a half an hour when you're done with it, and just have it all done. We don't
All
have
right,
to do it.
let's do that. We'll
Okay.
If it
just-
takes longer for some reason, we can do it. whenever.
Well, if you're gonna talk about budget stuff, then I can go do it, otherwise closed session, I can
Okay.
We can
We
take
have closed
notes.
first.
Okay, closed. You need closed before you do, we do budget, right?
Yes.
Okay, so,
And I think Christie's got something.
all right.
Yeah, this is sort of unfinished business. We've been talking about security issues in the health department. You guys had approved us to get a contract to add some cameras and things. Well, I have the contract signed by Precision, and I just need you to sign it. It did decrease in cost because we decided after consultation with Jill that adding audio recording in the lobby is not a good idea because of HIPAA. So I do have that contract with Precision. We were hoping that you could go ahead and sign it today as unfinished business.
And it's less at the numbers, it's less than what we looked at before.
982, now it's 5780. So it took $1,200 off.
Oh, good.
I'll offer a motion to sign a contract for security cameras at the health department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Then a motion to go to close.
Yeah.
A motion to go into closed session pursuant to Section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri. The commission will go into closed session to discuss the following: the personnel issues under section 610.021, subsection 13.
Second.
Roll call?
Sam.
Yes.
Harry.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Oh. Two, so you tell me which one you want.
Okay, we will go back into open session.
So I don't have very many items to go through. Mainly it was the open questions that we had. One was in the assessor's office. They had $5,000 in office equipment furniture. The explanation he gave for that is if they add new employees, they would need new computers and maybe desks. So, you wanna leave that one in there?
Yes.
Yes, that's reasonable.
They won't purchase them until he gets the new employee.
It's in there.
It's in there, so
That's-
it's kind of, you could do the same thing you're currently going to do with the salaries themselves. You could leave it in contingency, and if he hires new people, move money for that. It's up to
I'd
you
rather
all.
leave it in contingency, so it, I mean, you know, we've told him, you know, find these two employees that he has in there, and we'll add their salaries to it, so we can do the same with the desk and chairs.
Jeff, what would you like? Harry wants to put it in there, so you tell him.
I'd rather leave it in contingency until he hires them and do it then.
Okay.
Okay, you changed my mind, I agree.
Yeah, well,
But it's harder to take back later on.
So I did give you a sheet here. This one here. It's just the lines that have changed since my proposed budget to yours. I left all the salary lines out because obviously all of those have changed with the 5.5%. This is everything else we have changed. The two that you can see that are highlighted are ones I would like to propose after reviewing the budget. One was the annex building supplies. I think that one should go back up. We cut it down because his earlier usage was down, but based on usage through today, I think that one needs to go back up. So propose 2,000 back in there. And then same thing with immunizations. This year was kind of the first year that we purchased all of the immunizations ourselves and not through Show Me Backs. So in looking at that, and they have another $48,000 worth of bills in there that are getting paid today that are not included in that actual activity number yet, I would propose an additional $24,200 in there. Do you guys have a problem with either of those?
I do.
Okay. And then the rest of those are changes we made as we talked, so.
That one was kind of
You had one more highlighted in
Oh,
there.
assessing costs. That one was based on actual billing to the city. That one's $2 per parcel. So that one went up based on what we actually billed the city. And that's a revenue line, not an
So if
expense
somebody
line.
has subdivision, they flat out and sell, and they'll get that many more bills. Get
If
like
it's inside the city
$2 more
limits.
per.
Inside the
Get
city
to bill them
limits.
for that? All right.
That's awesome.
We could just split some of them up and plat them as different.
We did
Your
update.
backyard is agriculture.
We did also update all the insurance amounts based on the insurance amounts you approved this morning. So all the ones that say insurance to actual is based on that percentage change in insurance. We also did workers' comp based on that renewal. Otherwise, we didn't make a ton of changes that weren't related to the sales tax to actual, insurance to actual.
If we would add all the insurance to actual changes, it comes up to the 90-some thousand, thereabouts.
Well, we did also increase some
Deductibles.
that
Yes.
went up to double. So you always
Okay.
go through each department, but she kind of.
So if I had $5,000 in there for deductibles for cars, I doubled it, so I made it
Right,
in.
okay.
So that changed as well. So it's that 90 plus whatever the deductibles were double.
Got it.
It does affect quite a few accounts.
Yes.
Do you guys see anything there that? We did make 2 changes this morning in open session as well. You'll have a new grant in 167 that will get added. And then the recruiting tool that you approved for EMS is currently not in their budget. It will get added as well. So those 2 items.
So it is budgeted, so the
Should save money on it for next year.
right, so in the, I can't remember the name of the account, the public notices account, we budgeted like $13,000. That $8,000 or $87.96 will now be a fixed cost, so it's actually a savings.
Okay. So that one won't change the total number. I just need to add that description. Another one that is on the list of questions is part-time in the circuit clerk's office.
I did send her an email, and the response I got was that she was pulling the information and the numbers, and she called me yesterday and said she wouldn't be able to have it. She was off, and one of the other girls was off that needed to gather the information for her. But I think it really comes down to what she's asking for is to use that money for training next year. She did not specify when she came in here that she wanted to use any of it for archiving. So it's going to be up to you guys.
See, I'd like to talk to her too, because we were gonna do that 1 year and we've been carrying that since, yeah, I'm not inclined to grant
Again,
it.
once
but-
it's in there, I don't really specify when she brings employees over here to add part-timers. I don't ask what they're doing. I don't in any other department. If the money's allocated to her, then I think it's wide open to what she can use those people to do, I guess. Shouldn't be, because that wasn't the intent. But
Based upon what I've heard from the fellows who've been here a long time, we continue to incur an expense that isn't ours. And at some point, it needs to stop. And I think now is the time to stop it.
I would agree if she's
Yeah.
coming right out and saying it's not gonna be used for archiving. That was the intent.
She currently does have 2.
that goes back and forth. One of them goes back and forth to the state, to the county.
So my recommendation would be if you're going to make that change, you let those people know. Give them some time because
We don't write the check for these people?
we do.
We do.
We do. They're county employees.
What do you mean they go back and forth?
If she has money available in the state budget, she turns in their time on the state.
If she doesn't, she turns them into us.
That's strange.
What budget are we talking about?
151 is the department circuit clerk.
But if she has money in the budget, the budget that we adopt?
No. So if she has money in her state budget, she will turn them into her state budget to pay them. If she does not have money there, she will turn them into us to be paid. So we have one person that may not have any time this week, but may have time next.
Well, that's weird. No.
I'm fine with taking it out. I think we just need to prepare the people that currently work part-time under the county side and let them know that as of January the 8th, there will no longer be funding for that position.
From county's
From
resources?
Yes, from county resources.
I guess I'm just not following how that would work, as if,
I would think your state budget would be set at the beginning of their fiscal year, so I don't know.
They still
how
got
you
6
would-
months to go on that, on the existing budget, don't they?
Yes.
I mean,
They didn't stop their
delayed though when they passed the budget, wasn't it?
Their COLA goes in on January 1. They're 2%.
Right, but it was delayed from the budget they approved in July.
Yes, ordinarily they would increase it July 1. Instead, they said, okay, you're getting 2%, but not till January 1 of next year, which is, 2 weeks, 3 weeks away. And in addition to that, the governor has suggested in a supplemental a 5.5. He'd like to go 5.5, I think, in July, but he really wants to drag it back and do it here in February.
Well, this one that seesaws back and forth, is she getting our 5.5%?
No, this is
No,
a part-time.
a part-time,
employee.
okay.
So you guys tell me what you want to do with them. You want to take it out?
That was, we were doing it for a year. This is the one that we were doing it for a year?
Yes, and we've been doing since 2013.
If they're not archiving, I want it out of there. And the way she talked, they're gonna be used for
That's-
training, which is not our problem.
I'm with Jeff.
Me too.
I'll send her an email
Yeah.
as of today.
So I'm taking it all out. Do you want a cushion in there for that last pay period that falls over? It's been running all over the place. $500.
Is there an extra ordinarily long list of payables this period as opposed to the usual?
It could be that you have everybody trying to get everything in. This last week will be the last, so next week will be the last pay run of the year for payables. So you could have everybody trying to get things in before their budget cuts off.
And before the next payroll, just because, or accounts payable, because they may be on vacation during Christmas time.
Okay.
So are you guys okay if I leave $500 in there for that pay period that crosses over the end of the year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Social Security on it as well. We didn't really touch on EMS salaries. I don't know if you all came up with any changes you wanted to make to EMS salaries.
This is just all per the step thing for the most part, isn't it? Okay. Was there something else that?
I have a
Oh.
feeling that's why
No.
he's here.
No,
Nope.
If there are questions or concerns. The only real issue that we continue to see is that in certain eyes, the EMTs feel that their hourly rate is below minimum wage. Now, that is not necessarily the case when you look at their yearly salary, but when you break it down by per hour, there is that complaint. I don't necessarily agree with the complaint, but that is something that I will just put out there so that it's acknowledged.
But if we were to go to a minimum wage of $15 an hour for those folks that you're talking, it's like a $6 raise, isn't it? Or $4, $5? For that starting? at-
$9.35 would be the lowest.
Okay, 935 to 15 times the massive number of
Minimum
hours.
wage is only 11.
Well, no, well, I'm just going to, some, I don't know if it's getting to be accepted that $15 is really the minimum wage, maybe not by statute, but by practice. Is that, and you mentioned, did you mention 15? or
No,
not?
no,
You
so,
did.
so I'm going off the 11, whatever
Oh,
the
I
state
see.
minimum
Okay.
wage is. That is the complaint.
It's $10.30 at the moment, and it's gonna go to 11.15 in 2022.
The problem with the way their grid is now, we backed into that hourly wage. We went to the annual salary, and then we backed in because of all the built-in overtime.
Right.
So, I think if the ending salary is not right, then we look at it again. But if the ending salary is where they need to be, I know obviously they have to work more hours to
Right.
get to that ending salary.
I think that is, it's an interesting argument, right? So that ultimately they make significantly more than what minimum wage is, but we're requiring them to work more hours to make that wage. So it just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, if you're indeed working 24 hours, it's one thing. So that's kind of where that comes into, and then you have the overtime that's generated in there with them, with the 24 hours, 48-hour shifts, I guess, so.
I think that may be a bigger discussion of possibly, I think we need to look at those scales during the year this year.
Sure.
To take a look back and make sure that we've kept up with the COLAs that have happened. And we did make an adjustment to the paramedics last year.
Correct.
So I think that EMT and dispatcher need to be reviewed, but I don't know that pushing it through right this second is the best idea. Maybe that's something that needs to be evaluated and adjusted.
And with Sheila to go to the market.
That's where I was going to go with that, is go to market, and what, we have to match the market.
Yeah.
I would agree. So my suggestion would be is that we evaluate this for next year's budget, but in the meantime, we would bridge it with whatever COVID, the premium pay, which would alleviate some of that argument.
Okay.
And then next year, we look at making that a permanent change by addressing the pay scale.
So we'd take a second or third or fourth look at the grid. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. The grid probably needs to be looked at, because when we set it up, we never anticipated, I wasn't here, but there was never an anticipation of a 5.5% COLA.
Right, but in the first step, you get about a 5% raise, and so we were getting 2% on the other employees, so I think it's a chance they were taking doing it that way, because, it's gonna be front-loaded. So, it's worth taking a look at. I'm not opposed to that.
The only real issue that I have in trying to, wrap my mind around the grid is there comes a point where you get punished for longevity, and I think that's where the conversation probably needs to center around, is what do we do at the top of the pay scale. This year we did include
$1,000, a flat $1,000 for anyone that's over step 7.
But there is no mechanism to adjust for cost of living on that top end of the pay scale. So I don't necessarily think that we need to, outside of the EMT piece, move the entire pay scale by the cost of living adjustment, because as Jeff said, they are getting a step raise every single year, but it's more of addressing what are we doing at the top end.
So if you add their percentages across the 7 years, they receive 20.7% over a 7-year period.
Okay, but my argument would be, when that was implemented, nobody dreamt of 5.5% cost of living increases for everybody else.
I agree.
So, okay. I think it needs to be looked at deeper, but not today.
Yes, I would agree.
Okay,
I'm fine with that.
I'm good with that.
I did have another question for you. On your capital list, originally, we had, and I may have asked you this, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating it. I think we had radios, laptop cradles, and antennas on the list. Are those items now going to be included in the cost of your ambulance?
So it depends on how we want to do it. We can certainly price it out that way, or we can purchase it out of the capital fund as a separate item to.
What's the bottom dollar? Because if that bottom dollar's included in your 300,000 per ambulance, then we can take it out of the radios and other stuff, right?
So you're talking about $23,000 for additional items to fit that ambulance? I almost would like to track that cost as a cost of an ambulance, so you can truly say, to purchase a new ambulance, it costs me X, because I have to purchase these items to go with it. But it's up to you guys. In the past, we have always done the physical purchase of the ambulance in the ambulance line and any equipment out of the capital improvement line.
Hence, some of my comment earlier is that the purchase sticker on the ambulance was a certain amount, but to get them on the road, it was substantially more money to outfit them and get them to that point. So some of that hasn't been included in the RFP for simplification of ordering, but there's also the radio piece. And to also throw that in, those 3 radios won't be necessary if we get the ARPA funding to purchase the radio order that the sheriff is trying to get through. So it's there's 3 different avenues we can go here. I'm not sure that I can recommend one today because it also depends on ARPA.
Well, we might not even be spending that money in 2022 if we don't get the ambulances.
Correct.
So, we won't spend it until we physically have the ambulances.
So I'm fine with leaving it in there at the moment as kind of a placeholder. If we do get those items from somewhere else, we either don't spend it or we reallocate it to something else. It's about $23,000.
Yeah, there's other things that don't come as part of the ambulance to get it on the road. I mean, it's just like the sheriff's vehicles too. They come ready for us to put our stickers and radios and antennas and laptops and stuff. So.
We hope that we reuse as much as we can from previous ambulances. It's just sometimes
Yeah.
that's not the case when you're switching models or makes or types or whatever.
And when we were looking at trying to develop a price, I obviously wanted to be on the highest end possible so that we can, over plan and I guess under
I'd
deliver.
rather do that too, so I'm fine with that. I'd rather come back and say, well, it wasn't as much as you thought, so we got money left over. Now you can put tires on the thing.
Exactly. Maybe
If you a free radio, that antenna's gonna cost you about $25,000.
That's right. It's the gas I'm worried about.
Yeah, amen.
Oh, yeah. That's gonna be a fun one too. Yeah, I'm fine just leaving it in there as is right now, Chris, and we'll just, if that works for you.
I have to find it. So then that takes care of that one, that one, that one. Locks adjustments. We don't have that list. I also don't have maintenances list if there were any other adjustments.
Did we approve all the other adjustments?
Huh? Yeah.
So all of them that were requested were approved?
No.
There was,
We took some
I
out
don't-
and we went through the rest.
With the 5.5, I don't think, as far as Greg's, I don't think we need that 10,000 if that's what you're talking about.
I thought it was 20.
Huh?
I thought he said 20 initially.
Well, that was his salary, that was
20 for him,
him.
which we did adjust his,
Yeah,
but
we
not by
adjusted
that
his.
much, and then 10 for
10
his
for,
employees,
to
but-
divide, so I
So,
think,
I'm just gonna kinda go down, I think in the order that you had gone. We had a couple of them for the administrator,
Yeah, so the 2 for the public administrator are in there.
the recorder, then I wanna know about IT.
We
Was
took
that one?
IT out.
You took it out?
Yep.
Okay.
we
I
decided,
was just writing them all down, so I don't know which ones we approved.
we decided with the COLA,
Maintenance
that
on the custodian,
So
it went up.
the one custodian went to the $15 an hour, and then you added one for Greg.
What was that amount?
1809.89. You took him to a flat 60,000.
Okay.
I'm not
well,
sure you
we
guys
just-
have the newest one, because these got adjusted as we talked about.
In health, we had the front desk
Front desk and the environmental guys.
specialist, okay,
And then they had a couple that were under the 15, so.
okay.
But again, those got adjusted down based on the 5.5.
Yeah.
They didn't get more than the $15 an hour. Like, my adjustment was more because I only had 4%. When we went to 5.5, their adjustment went down to still just get them to that point.
Right. Gotcha. Okay,
Then we had three in juvenile.
yeah. Prosecutor, we talked about,
So prosecutor, I
No.
added those two in today based on those two forms, but I don't have any other adjustments.
He's
from
asking
him.
75,000
75,000 was his
to
request.
just kind of divide.
He said 3 o'clock today.
Yeah, I'm not, without clarification, that's a big chunk of money.
then what do we decide in parks? Did we add,
Parks was the full-time position and the part-time position.
we added those in to Public Works and
No,
1.5 or?
1.5 in parks, so they will actually truly have a person and a half in 172 in general fund.
Okay.
Public Works, we didn't do any adjustments. And they replaced 1 for 1, so they didn't add another person either.
Eliminated one, added two smaller.
So if they
Assessor.
wanted to take the higher paid position that retired and create 2, they only created 1. So 1 for 1.
Oh, okay, so we'll get one.
Yep.
Assessor's got a couple of them was requesting, we said bring us the people, we'll,
Mm-hmm.
So yes, his 2 are approved as long as he brings them here first.
Mm-hmm.
we got law enforcement, the training lieutenant, half the SRO and the jail detective.
No jail.
We took out the jail,
Did
yeah.
No
take-
jail detective, so
I
just
had
the
it marked out in
SRO.
this note, and then I had it over here on this note, so. These were your notes that you were going through, and I just didn't get to catch up, so.
And then he currently has the money for a 1% merit and a 4% increase for his part-time.
Okay, so then the part-time, that's gonna bring them up to more competitive stuff. I guess, I mean, why wouldn't you do them more, John? Are you able to fill them all right then if it's,
Well,
you bump it
oh,
forward?
I'm not been able to fill them, but what it's doing by doing that, it's stopping the bleed again, because we haven't done anything with my part-time in a long time. And, the reason why I went with 4%, because originally that's what the COLA was gonna be, so I put 4%, so they were
Okay.
saying the same thing. But we don't have the money to change that, so.
well, I know I probably about made you faint when I said, why didn't you ask for more, but
You did.
sorry about
I
that.
passed out and moved back
I
up
made sure
real
you were
quick.
sitting down. Okay,
But,
so then the
I don't
one,
know if you all want to talk about other part-time. We did not adjust any other part-time.
Usually it's been, you get so much money for part-time, and you decide if you need to use part of that money for an increase for the current ones. Right, wrong? That's just kind of,
so if they get a $20,000 pool for part-time, they got $20,000 to pay them $10 an hour or $20 an hour.
well, in that case, then I request an increase of $4,200 in my part-time monies.
if I get the pay form and it seems unreasonable, that's why I bring them to you.
But I mean, okay, it's on you, so they could pay them $9 an hour or $10 an hour.
We have made some adjustments to part-time over the last couple of years. I think sheriff included, to try to get those two more competitive and try to draw those people in. We have very few that are under, I think I only see two possibly that are under $12 an hour. Maybe three. Because I think two of those public works ones are no longer
And what's the
here.
1% merit come up to for a total?
In his department, I think it was like 31 or 32,000.
32.8, I believe.
I actually have that. Let me look. Are you watching me?
I'm trying to see how.
31,576.97.
How much was it?
31,576.97.
So it's not near as much as what I thought.
So he did not include anybody that's been here less than,
They gotta be in the position for more than 6 months before they're eligible.
and he did not include any open positions either.
How much was it?
31,576.97.
I'd like to do a 32,000.
So I will tell you, in looking at the budgets, once we've made the changes that you had there in front of you, law enforcement is balanced. Public Works has a deficit.
How about stating that the law enforcement budget is balanced versus the law enforcement is balanced?
The law enforcement budget is balanced.
Good point.
And Public Works is never, Public Works is not, it's,
Well, they have to balance.
Yeah,
Well-
they have to balance, but like true revenue in and expenditures out without contingency or cash forward. That's where I'm talking.
Yeah.
So,
And insurance did it to them this time.
yeah, insurance didn't help. I think it was about $32,000 in Public Works that created some of that. Theirs has been a little more flexible with creating that deficit because, like I said, if you have a bad winter or you don't have a bad winter, we kind of take a guess on what we think those items are going to be. Some years are good years, some years are bad years.
When we hit when we pay deductibles, do we charge that to the department that incurred it?
Yeah, well, in general fund, it all goes into general accounts. If you are in the law enforcement fund, Public Works, EMS, yes.
Okay.
if the sheriff would stop hitting deer,
I'm working on that for you.
Affect their budgets this year, what the deductibles double.
What's that?
It's going to affect your budgets.
Yeah, she'd already made it, we've already had changed some stuff. That was a nice little piece of information yesterday.
So, and for the first time ever, general fund's in the black by about $86,000.
It can switch very quickly.
Yes,
It can
yes.
change. You see all those transfers, and most of all those transfers are coming out of 127.
yeah,
So,
then we're good.
if there's other things you guys want to talk about, other adjustments you want to make,
On the,
I do know there are other people that would love to have merit money if you would give it out.
Yes. And I'll just say a speech on that. If you're going to give it to other departments for merit or a flat dollar amount of a pool to make adjustments, I think that's merit. And I think if you do it for one, you should do it for everybody else within general fund for sure.
I think 5.5% COLA is really good. I think first year I came in, didn't we do like a 3% COLA and 2% merit?
No.
We did a merit, the first year I came in, we did a merit.
Yes,
It was
We
not
did a
3 and
merit.
2.
it was close to that, back when Greg was still sheriff. That's absolutely true.
2 and 2.
I was
See,
gonna say,
Was
I
it
think
2
the
and 2?
biggest
I
we've
just
ever done
know
is
we did COLA and a merit. And I got more complaints on how the merit was divided
Well, merit is based on evaluations. If you do a flat cost, like Debbie's talking about,
Yeah.
that's COLA. If you just get a pool of money and you split it amongst your people evenly, well, then I need to go back and revisit, because I want the same for my people. Not
Well-
everybody's eligible for mine, because I say if you've been there less than 6 months, you're not eligible for merit. So if we're gonna do flat amount, then I need to do readjustment on mine.
I think merit's hard to do within the county because there is so much difference between departments.
And how everybody does the evaluations.
And how everybody thinks everybody else's departments works or doesn't work.
I mean, because in
I
John's,
should make more money
in John's
than you.
department, he has the
I work
ability to
harder.
divide that
It's construction stuff.
31,000
You're just
different
salesman.
ways. When you limit mine to be 1%, it's, hey, I only have 1% to give. So it makes a difference. When you have a pool of over 100 people to pull from and say you get none and you get some and you get more, it's different when you only have one, maybe 2 employees to say, I can't steal from anybody. You get what you get and you don't get any more. So merit's hard to do, and some departments don't do merit correctly.
No,
They give it across the board like it's a COLA, and that's not what it's intended for.
I was a newbie, and boy, I heard it too from employees who,
And we've had years where someone goes in and says, this type of employee gets merit and this type doesn't. That's not really fair either.
But then the new person comes in and says, my people are out of whack. So then we have to fix that.
So merit has created a lot of salary issues over the years because it's not been done the way it
correctly.
should.
So what you have in there now is basically the COLA for all, except for the EMS follows a different schedule. And a few adjustments based on the position. And of course, the 1% in the sheriff. Would that be a clear statement?
So, I've gone through all the issues I have to talk about. Do you guys have other things you want included or you want to talk about?
Well, I guess we're waiting on the adjustments for Locke's office, prosecutor. And that's, 75,000 is the request, that's gonna be split up a certain way. So it's getting a lot bigger, merit pool,
Yeah.
if you wanna call it that.
But yes, that
to
would
use
be
that
a
office, so-
significant merit pool.
And that's just what I'm struggling with on that one, because I thought, some of these
the
others were very reasonable.
What's the total payroll line for that before or after that, as a percent, what is it?
Just for his department.
Yeah, right.
So total at the moment for his department would be with the 5.5% or without?
After the 5.5% is put there, we have a number.
So total
And
is
75,000 over that number, what is the percent?
Damn, I had these numbers memorized, it's 70.
It's almost 7%.
7% on top of 5.5, okay.
Ready for
And,
two big adjustments.
well, it was just approved this morning on top of that, so.
I don't think
Yeah, okay, so if you pull those other two salaries off of their total, it grows
even
more than
higher.
7.5%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that seems steep. I'd be in favor of limiting it to about 5% or something, 4 or 5.
Above,
Yes. That takes that 75 and knocks it in half, not in half, but I don't know, whatever.
Well, 5.5% of his salaries is 45,472.
How about 37.5? We cut it in half.
Without having his plan.
No.
Well, he-
What he wants to do with that, I don't think that's
Well, we just told him to come back this afternoon with the plan that adds to 75. Didn't we?
You gave him till this afternoon.
Right. 3 o'clock, he said he was gonna try to get it done by 3 o'clock. I guess what we're then saying, we're pushing back and saying, we don't care what you have that adds to 75, because 75 is too tall, too big.
I think that would be very fair to say.
Okay, so,
Can I request another 5?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna come back to the table.
I just said it, I'm saying no to 75,000. That's what I thought you just said. We're saying no, we're gonna either reduce it to X number, but we're not, whatever he brings us at the $75,000 split is not gonna be approved.
Reduce it to a different number? Are you reducing it because he thinks his
I didn't s-
attorneys are out of whack of what they're
I didn't even pick a number. I don't know. I didn't pick a number. I'm just telling you what Harry was saying, is that the proposed thing is that we're gonna have to tell him it's gonna be.
Well, we're giving him merit money, is what we're giving him. And I know
I'm not arguing for or against, I was just clarifying.
that first year when we gave merit, and
I'll be ready to
I
argue in a second.
heard complaints from up there because his predecessor gave it all to the attorneys and the office staff and others didn't get squat. And,
well, if we just say no to 75, can he reach in that other bucket?
Not if you don't agree to the MOU.
Well, we talked ourselves out of an MOU, right?
but this is basically, that's merit money where he's asking for.
We just asked for merit money this morning that we
I-
approved. Just,
For 2 people.
yeah.
Okay.
So that was-
Just to move this thing, the nimbus, you know what a nimbus is? It's a cloud. So to move the nimbus, the cloud, I'm saying when he comes back with 75,000, we cut it in half to 37.5, and whatever, if he said 10,000 for that person becomes 5. And I'm happy to lose this, and we just move on. But we spend too much time agonizing over these things, and we don't come to conclusions quick enough, in my opinion. So,
And I'll just reiterate, I think that is a merit, no matter what dollar amount you come up with. So if you do that.
All the
then-
adjustments have been merits, essentially.
Well, I think you should ask for $25,000 for
You gotta quit
Commission-
telling people that, Sam.
per commission office, the commission, our staff. No different?
I'm not
we're
saying it's
supposed to be
different.
on lunch hour. What's going on here now?
Again, that's not merit. So if you want to do a salary adjustment, which I think is what you're talking about, because there's no rhyme or reason why you're giving the money out, you're giving it out, that's a salary adjustment. I go back to merit is based on your evaluation, based on a formula.
So how's he making the adjustment? He's taking that 75,000,
I don't
making an
know.
adjustment
I don't
based
know.
on some kind
I'm
of
just wanting to make sure you
merit or
differentiate the fact
objective
that
goals or something, so.
The way you're doing it,
you have to differentiate. A merit raise is based on a formula. A salary adjustment is based on, hey, you do a good job for me, here's some extra money for you.
yeah. I agree. Sometimes you're pretty smart, John.
That's not merit.
Yeah.
I guess I feel like if you're gonna give him till the end of the day, you may as well ask everybody to go back and
Yeah,
give
I
me
think so.
end of the day.
Tell everybody to send them on it. I might just be a blanket no, that'd make it easier. But
Okay. Well,
I just think
are we
that
good
he
with?
got the adjustments he has to
Are we
make.
good with what you presented then, other than the prosecuting attorney?
I think we need to let him know something, because if he's gonna sit down and go through this and make some kind of proposal, and we're gonna be a no to 75
Well,
or a no to 35
I think
or
he
no.
needs to explain why.
There's no sense in him sitting and agonizing on how to split 75 when the answer is 0. So we owe him that courtesy.
Okay.
So if you guys want to say that you get a pot to split, but it adds to 0, and there's no negatives or positives. It's just 0. So why would he go through the exercise? I suggested it be a 37.5. I haven't heard a second. So whatever you guys want to do.
Have 1-0, are you in 0?
I'm a zero right now because I
Okay.
can't just see
But if you
taking
see
a pot of money
proposal,
and saying
he might
I want,
change his mind.
I want this to divide among my department.
Can we adopt a sort of like a 2-minute filibuster rule, and after that,
Your timer starts now. You need one of those little things.
Yeah.
Just flip it
You know-
over and when the timer
So without
runs
a
out, you're
really,
done.
really good reason why they deserve the $75,000, I'm no right now.
Yeah, I think you'll have a lot of people up there with really good reasons to give a lot of their people raises. It wouldn't just end at his office.
Well, and then we're talking
Got a lot of
premium
really
pay
good people.
besides, so it's like, why, hell, where do we stop?
Well, you gotta,
I'm done with the budget unless you all tell me to change something.
I'm good, I think.
So there will be changes. I can't say that I'm done. There will be changes. So we will wait until the end of the year. We will fill in cash forward as actually what is in the bank. There are a few, probably 15 or 20 accounts that by statute get to carry forward their money into the next year, whatever it is. So we'll change all of those carry forward amounts and update those, but that should be the change that happens between now and when you adopt the budget in January.
What's the date you're shutting the budget down?
We have one more account.
The last budget run will be due Friday, paid out next Tuesday.
And what day is that?
The
December-
21st.
December 21st is the last day we can input anything?
No, the 17th.
17th is the last day? Okay.
Yes.
I've been in Vegas, man.
Oh my
In my
goodness.
head.
Are you messing with my TV or what?
I don't know why that does that sometimes.
So, unless
Okay,
you guys have changes between now and then, the budget is done other than.
our quick response
okay,
vehicles.
but we've got a guy upstairs that might be agonizing over his schedule that has a 75. He needs to be told, you're wasting your time,
Okay,
all right? Somebody
Okay.
gonna tell him?
sure.
Okay.
She's the boss.
I gotta tell Donna, now. You're gonna tell.
We got mom and we got the boss. Oh,
Jill approved it, so now you all have to review it, and I'm gonna come back at the end of the day. The yellow are the things that you all have to decide on, that's just plugged in so that it wasn't mixed.
okay.
We're coming back at 3? 3 to hit,
Jill has blessed it. So-
okay.
well, we can do it right now.
Yeah, I
So-
don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, you have to read through
I-
it, Jill.
I-
You can't, you have to screen through it before you can say, yeah, I blessed it. You know what I put in there.
And I have two suggestions. One would be that we do not implement premium pay until we adopt the new salary schedule.
So that changes dates, isn't it?
That would be my suggestion. And two, I would also like to have VKD read our policy before you guys adopt it.
Yes.
I would like to run it by them, so I don't know that you can necessarily do it today.
But we can't wait until next Tuesday, because it cuts you too short on the payroll.
Well,
No,
if
I'm
you're-
sorry,
If you're not going to do it until we adopt this is not effective until January the 10th.
got it,
I-
okay.
I'm
now.
fine with that because we have a date that we're going with.
Okay, I
I mean, I
forgot.
wanted to get it going.
We don't have the critical,
The time crunch is not as much if we're not going to do it before the end of the year.
okay, and we're not.
So my suggestion would be that we submit this draft policy to BKD today.
Perfect,
Yes.
We will try to get it back on the agenda next week.
okay?
So hopefully we will have the policy in place. If we have that policy in place, then we can start accumulating the documentation with the proposed effective date of January the 10th.
All right,
And, nice.
And just so that we know, Kristen wants to approve it by, well, everybody wants to have it blessed by BKB. They tentatively have blessed it by the email they sent us last week, saying that the definition has been expanded and could include county employees.
okay.
Based on the information they gave us. So
So-
it's basically a formality to
Yes.
have them
Yes.
review it, so it should
And
go
also,
pretty quickly.
when we get to that point, if it is approved and everything's done, I still like their ability to review the documentation before we gather.
Yeah, we need to make sure that we have in the policy all of the items that we need to accumulate to document.
And we plagiarized just a little bit on a county in Kansas that is also,
Of the one they gave to
we
us
took the
as a
bones,
sample.
all right? And they are a BKD client as well.
Yes.
And this does not apply to elected officials.
No.
It does not.
It does to permanent.
department heads, but not elected officials.
Okay. Just want to clarify that.
Sorry, I used January 10th. The first day of that pay period is January the 9th.
All right.
Okay.
So we're not coming back this afternoon.
Not unless you guys need to, no.
No, I'd say we don't need to.
Well, they need to review it and say, yes, we send it on to BKD.
Oh,
If
okay,
you can
yes.
just give us a
Well,
verbal okay
yes,
that you're
do
ready
that.
to send it to them.
Yes,
I
yes.
think they can review the draft at the same time they are, unless you guys have significant changes that you want to
Well,
make.
I'm good with that.
So we're not,
All right, so I can make a motion
I think.
that we adjourn or stand in recess until 4:30, I'm sorry.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we will get that back on the agenda for Tuesday.
So you're not coming back, are we coming back?
So on this, the pay thing, there's no COLA
No.
for 2022, so that doesn't need to be up in remarks. I signed it and wrote a note there, but I want to make sure that it is, that's, I know it's in the,
close minutes.
Yes.
I maybe think that this amount includes your COLA.
Right in there.
Yeah,
Okay, I can do
include,
that.
I mean,